We're also, of course, very mindful that the nation is entering a demographic trough in which we will see fewer high school graduates coming through the pipeline, but we've known about this. It's not a surprise. And that's why we understand that now when you think about who goes on for higher education, it's really a much bigger mindset than 18-year-olds. And that's how the system is shifting itself and its own thinking. We're focusing on reaching all of these other groups of potential students out there, working adults who have some college credit but no degree, or even those who've never had the opportunity to pursue higher education. And Chris is also going to say a little bit more about that in terms of specifics. And while, yes, we want to do it from the point of view of increasing our enrollment numbers and strengthening our universities financially, et cetera, it's also critically important because this is the pipeline of population that will be the workforce for Pennsylvania, and one that can embrace technology and innovation and lifelong learning and the understanding that higher education at this point is not a sort of a one and done in 4 years. It's a continuous lifelong process, especially if we're going to maintain a Commonwealth that is among the top states in the country for economic development. So we are Pennsylvania's only state-owned set of universities, and therefore this is truly our responsibility more than any other sector of higher education. We've got this interrelated, actually totally integrated dual idea of what we're supposed to be doing, a mission, of course, to serve students, and then at the same time serves the Commonwealth. So I think we're very privileged to sort of have that calling. And I very much look forward to continuing the conversations today, which will get more specifically focused on how exactly we're going to go about doing that, particularly over this coming year. So I think at this point, we are ready to move on in the agenda, right? We'll go on first to union leader remarks. We're pleased to have the opportunity every quarter for our statewide union leaders to address the board. And let me first call on Dr. Ken Mash to speak on behalf of our faculty union, APSCUF.
Just push the button, yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Shapira, governors, returning faculty liaison, chancellor, presidents, and guests. My name is Ken Mash, and I'm the president of APSCUF, the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties. I'll begin today by first thanking the chancellor, who has gone out of his way to meet a couple of times already with our individual chapter presidents, and to get their impressions and their feelings about the way things that are going, and also to have the opportunity to explain what the system is doing. And I think that kind of communication is really admirable, and it does relieve various different kinds of stress. I'd also like to thank President Driscoll, there you are, for making the time to come to the APSCUF town hall to talk about the potential side letter with regard to the College of Osteopathic Medicine. I think it was a very helpful session, and he was forthcoming. And I think there was a couple of hard questions, but he navigated those very well. So thank you for that. My primary remarks, though, are about the state system budget and the allocation request that will be voted on later today. For years now, the current year notwithstanding, the system has calculated its budget request based on the notion that tuition should not be increased, and we should receive an X percentage of an increase to maintain kind of the status quo, right? So that we would be able to do what we are doing. And of course, we absolutely applaud the effort of the state system to keep tuition steady. I think that is the most consistent thing with the mission of the system, to make sure that it is affordable for our students and that we continue our job of trying to help people move from the working class into the middle class, to have upward mobility, which is what we do so well. It is the second part of that, that is the status quo of the statement, that I just want to take a little bit of issue with. Just in case you haven't heard from our colleagues, the status quo sucks. Programs are being cut. Technology needs to be purchased in order to be able to do what we are doing. Repairs have been deferred. Services have been reduced. And faculty, coaches, and staff, too, have been pushed to the breaking point, to only name a few of the issues that surround the ongoing fiscal crisis that continues at our individual universities. There's a lot of work to be done, and there just aren't enough people to do that work. And last academic year, I spoke to you about the problem of low morale. And morale is low precisely because there is not enough money at virtually all of our universities to do right by our students, to attract students to come to our universities, and to treat them the way that they should be treated once they get there. How can my colleagues do right by our students when almost all of their energy is being spent figuring out either, what can be cut, or how to defend their programs and their jobs from the budget knife? It's clear that given the consolidation that has occurred, the two new universities have got to be able to answer the question for prospective students and their families about why they should attend those particular universities, particularly given, that there are choices at our other universities, and there are universities outside of our system as well. And the answer can't continue to be demographics. It can't be that these universities are just near you, because the demographics, it doesn't work, because there's fewer and fewer of those students who are just simply near them. To attract students and to thrive, which I hope is a goal that we all share, those universities have to be able to invest to make their campuses attractive, invest in programs, facilities, and everything else that they are doing, and in the technology to make sure that the courses that are being offered actually work and work for the students, as was mentioned yesterday. But the status quo does not allow for that. Further, it's clear that our universities are not monolithic. We should not presume that one number works for every single one of our universities. They work off different sources of revenue. They have different missions. They have inherited different problems over the years. And the goal should be to find the number that doesn't just match the status quo, but actually allows them to thrive. Just last year, Governor Shapiro proposed a 15% increase in the budget of public higher education institutions, and his intention was to do that over many different years. And I don't believe that number just simply came out of thin air. It was about having thriving institutions that are affordable, that prepare students for the future, and which position Pennsylvania to have an attractive workforce. I don't know if everyone has seen, but New York State has become very aggressive about trying to attract Pennsylvania's students. There must be a reason why they think that there is hay to be made in Pennsylvania. We have to be concerned about that. We want to do, and I don't think that they're crazy either. I think that they understand, right? That they want to, not just for the sake of their institutions, but also for the sake of their state and its future, that they have to be attractive. They have to have institutions, higher ed institutions that will thrive. And we have to do the same thing, and we have to move in that direction. So to repeat what I said, the status quo sucks. I hope this board will put forward a budget request that will, in fact, help our institutions thrive. The system has the data to show what a difference a college degree makes for students' future earnings. And I urge you to be bold in your request, especially since being bold in this instance means doing the right thing. And I can promise you that regardless of what the board does, we, ABSCUF, will be advocating for an increase that reframes the status quo. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Dr. Mash. Our next speaker will be Dr. Rich Burks, who is representing our trustees. But before I call on you, Rich, I just want to express my appreciation for you representing trustees who play such an important role in supporting and guiding our universities. And that, by extension, really has an impact on the entire system. So thank you to you and to your PAC board for your efforts to support trustees, to keep them informed, to lead development, to enable better and better governance at the Council of Trustees, and to help them fulfill their roles as best as they can. And so with that, let me turn it over to you, Rich. You're on Zoom, so take it away. We can see you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for allowing me to join you virtually. As you can see in my background, it's kind of hard to leave Millersville. It's such a beautiful campus. And let me begin by thanking the Chancellor for attending our PAC quarterly meeting last week. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us and discuss not only the system priorities, but also the general state of the system. Thank you very much, Chancellor. A colleague usually reminded me how important it is to emphasize to you, as members of the Board of Governors, the important role of the trustees at their university and the system. The voice of trustees is so important that when the Board of Governors was established, it ensured trustee representation on this board. If we are to truly be a system, then we have to involve the trustees at a micro level. And this is where PAC fits in. PAC seeks to inform trustees by making available to all trustees an opportunity to be involved at the system level. Opportunities such as the quarterly meeting with the Chancellor and the Board of Governors chair prior to the Board of Governors. The ability to virtually and in person view the Board of Governors meeting. Review the legislative reports and the campus happenings. These are a few examples of these opportunities, thus informing trustees about the system and the role of their university in the system. But we cannot stop there. In conjunction with the last Board of Governors meeting, we had a very successful PAC meeting, as we had the opportunity to meet with members of the Board of Governors, faculty, staff union representatives, and union presidents. We heard the Chancellor preview his priorities for the future and for us as trustees to provide input into these priorities. Thank you. We applaud the Chancellor as he placed academics, finances, and engagements at the top of the list of priorities. Now it is important to continue to involve the trustees in the implementation of these priorities. We know that the coming year will be a very busy one for the Board of Governors. We as trustees want to support and assist you with this work. Guidelines established between the President and the Chancellor as to how the system hopes to accomplish these priorities must be shared with the trustees, not only at a university level, but also at a system level. Priority 3B singles out the effort to increase transparency by making sure that the proposed change initiatives, goals, strategies, and implementations are crystal clear to all stakeholders at all levels. If we are to accomplish this, these goals and implementation strategies must be shared with trustees as they are being addressed, not only after they've been finalized. It is our responsibility as trustees to make sure that these priorities are an important part of our individual trustee meetings. How is our university helping to make these priorities a reality must be an ongoing discussion. During the Chancellor's visit to the individual campuses, trustees are given the opportunity to provide feedback on the progress of the implementation of these priorities and the impact on their university. I encourage all trustees to take advantage of this opportunity. I hope that it is clear that we want to be an integral partner in the implementation of the priorities and look forward to working with all of you. Finally, university presidents and council chairs have received a draft template of a trustee emeritus policy. We believe it is important, like faculty emeritus, to recognize the contribution of trustees to their university. This template can be modified to fit the needs of the individual institution, and we encourage all of our universities to adopt a trustee emeritus policy for their university. Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Rich. We appreciate it. Now let us turn to public comment. Randy, I'll ask you to facilitate.
Sure. If there's any member of the public who'd like to speak, just approach the podium, state your name. You have 3 minutes. There's no public comment, Madam Chair.
All right, then. Let us now move to the consent agenda, and we will consider the items that are listed on your consent agenda, which today include, I believe, just meeting minutes. So may I have a motion to approve the?
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Is there any discussion? Okay, no. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any, right? Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda has passed. Let me now turn to our Chancellor for his report. It's a little bit out of order from what we usually do, but that's what we're going to do.
Okay. Here I was following the agenda and you've surprised me. So, okay. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to see everyone. I've had an extended stay here at Slippery Rock because I did my campus visit here on Tuesday. So I've had a chance to really be engaged with the campus and the people, and it's really been terrific. President Riley, thank you for your hospitality toward me, and it really has been a great visit. I do want to thank both the Slippery Rock staff. Everywhere I look, there's somebody looking at me and saying, "You look confused, go that way." So that has been a huge help. And the chief of police and lieutenant around making sure everything's okay, and the staff in this building have been absolutely wonderful. I asked the group of them yesterday whether they're nervous when they have something like this, and they said no, we love it. And the building is spectacular and well cared for, and the food has been wonderful. So congratulations on a great execution. And as always, I don't know where Toya is, but the coordination of this, there she is over there. The coordination of this meeting, especially in a remote setting, takes a lot of work. Every time I went out in the morning, no matter how early it was, Toya's car was gone already from the hotel. So she was already busy at work. So Toya, thank you for your work and for the entire Office of the Chancellor staff who've contributed to this. Randy, great hard work. So thank you. The execution has been flawless. So I appreciate all that. Well, as Chair Shapiro mentioned, we have a lot of things to celebrate right now. We have things to work on, but as mentioned, the system enrollment is up for the first time in over a decade. We continue to educate nearly 90% of our students are from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which makes us really the number one institution for in-state students among all four-year institutions. We have many large schools, but they're educating a lot of people from elsewhere, and we're very focused on students from the Commonwealth. Our underrepresented minority enrollment is at 22%, which is the highest since 2004. We've talked about the community college transfers, 14.3% increase, which is outstanding. Had a chance to talk a little bit to President Bullock about the conditions that have allowed that to happen, and there's great collaboration going on between the community colleges and the PASSHE schools. We've been very focused on streamlining the transfer of credits. Most of our schools are approaching 99% in terms of the transfer of credits, and overall we're in excess of 95%. And we're still focusing on the areas where we're seeing some friction, trying to figure out why that is to see if we can also improve that. So, pardon me, streamlining these processes have been a major factor in seeing this increase. We talked about the student retention. The overall student retention is now 81%, which is an all-time record for the system. That's outstanding news. We're very focused on providing the services to these first-year students to retain them to the second year, and it's really starting to pay off. Cheney, Commonwealth, IUP, and Slippery Rock all set all-time retention records. Kutztown had the highest retention rate this century. And universities are using data-driven strategies to support students because we know that staying in college helps students to reach their career and income goals, which is very important to us. I want to spend a little time this morning talking about these retention efforts. So I've asked a number of the presidents who have experienced increases if they would have somebody talk a little bit about how they've achieved that. So let me first call on President Cavalier from Kutztown and ask him to introduce his presenter to talk about the retention efforts at Kutztown University. President.
Thanks, Chancellor. And good morning, everyone. We're obviously very excited to have hit this high mark in first-year retention, and it represents a big increase from last year's cohort retention. I've asked our provost, Dr. Lauren Basden-Arnold, to talk a little bit about the initiatives that she and others have put in place to increase retention. Dr. Arnold?
Thank you. I want to talk briefly about 4 examples of things that we've been doing at KU. We understand that retention is really a multifaceted issue, and so we've been trying to focus primarily on where we find barriers for students. I will note, in fairness, that these examples are not unique to us, and I think that you will hear from some of the other schools that they're doing very similar things. One of the things that we did was that we implemented the Starfish Student Success Platform. We did not previously have a student success platform, and faculty uptake on the platform has been very strong. Of course, a technology platform is only as good as it is used. And our faculty have really used it to indicate students that may be having issues, maybe hitting one of those barriers. And students are also raising their hands, which is what it is called in the Starfish platform, when they find that they need assistance and don't know where to get it. Once a student is identified by a faculty member or theirself, they receive outreach from someone in our Student Success Network, which includes staff in Student Affairs, in our Student Success Office, and in each academic dean's office, so that they have a network of people that can provide the kind of assistance that they need. Students who are responsive to the outreach, we can only invite them to talk to us, but when they are responsive to the outreach, they have a much higher retention rate and higher GPA than students who didn't engage. So we feel like that effort is valuable and is working. For the last 2 years, we've added a student success navigator for each incoming student. So they have their faculty advisor and a navigator. The navigators provide students with information regarding resources that are available to them, strategies for success, referrals to different offerings we have on the campus, and assistance in understanding the program guides and 8-semester plans created by our faculty advisors. Students that engage with the navigators after outreach similarly have a higher retention rate than those who don't. We additionally added a web page for students to help them understand where they could direct particular questions and how to escalate their question if they haven't gotten a response in a reasonable time. It also helps them understand what is a reasonable time. You know, it's not emailing your faculty member at 4 a.m. and then emailing the president at 6 a.m. We have additionally implemented multiple academic recovery programs. We have a summer reboot program that serves first-year students that have not obtained necessary credits or GPA to retain financial aid eligibility. So they enroll in 1 or 2 courses. We give them up to $750 in tuition waiver, and they participate in both success coaching and an online academic recovery course during the summer. In summer 2024, 92% of the students that participated persisted into the fall of their second year. The KU Succeed program supports students that are granted financial aid appeals so that now they got that extra time, they will be able to persist to success. And more than 80% of the students who have participated in recent years have been retained into the following term or have graduated. And the KU Achieve program supports first-time, full-time students who have less than a 2.0 in their first semester. And as we all know, that is a population of students for whom recovery is often hard. More than 60% of the students that participate in and complete that program increase their GPAs enough to start to have markers of success after that semester. In the curricular realm, we've also started implementing what we're calling off-ramp courses to provide students with an opportunity to maintain a full-time schedule and finish the semester strong, even if they get off to a rocky start in a gateway course. So we started with common areas that students have that experience, science and math. So students can be in an entry-level science course and then they hit that first exam and it's not going well. They're not prepared. They didn't realize the work level that they needed to engage. And so they can switch to a less intense science or math that still fulfills their GE requirement and gives them progress through the semester so that then the following semester, maybe they are ready for that higher intensity course, or maybe they decide that they fulfilled their gen ed and they want to move on in a different way. And students are advised by the faculty who are teaching the courses that can be barriers, whether or not is probably wise for them to enroll in the off-ramp courses. Not all of them do, but the ones who do have had a very positive experience. So that's just a few of the things that we're doing. We're really trying to hit retention with a highly multifaceted effort.
And Chancellor, if I could just say one last thing, I really want to give a shout out to the provost, because this work, the coordination of it and getting everyone on board and moving forward with it does not happen without a strong provost who serves as the maestro. So thank you, Lauren, for that work.
Thank you, President Cavalier. Thank you, Dr. Basson-Arnold, for your report. And now I would invite President Driscoll from IUP, if you would introduce your presentation.
Thank you, Chancellor Fiorentino. I have 2 folks in line with your request. I've asked them to stay within about 4 minutes. Ms. Paula Stossel, Strategic Advisor to the President for Student Success and member of my cabinet, and Dr. Amber Ricchini, Vice Provost for Academic Success and Dean of the University College. And they have a few slides to share, I think.
Good morning, and thank you, Dr. Driscoll. This morning, as we talk about IUP student success journey, it is important for us to consider our strategic plan. And so, do you want to advance our slide? So our strategic plan does call us to be an exceptionally student-centered university. And that transformation for IUP really means that we support our students during their critical transition points and throughout their entire journey at the university. So we're really mindful of, as they're becoming students at the university, as they are pursuing their academic and their personal journey. And we're also very mindful of supporting them as they're transitioning out of the university to pursue their next opportunity outside of IUP. And so with this strategic plan at the center of our work and guiding how we move forward, we really had a nice opportunity to consider how we approach student success at IUP. And so what we have is a very holistic approach to student success. We were very mindful of making sure we engage all faculty and staff at the institution. And so our new infrastructure that we implemented in fall of 2023 has these components that Amber is going to talk a little bit more about for us.
So we were fortunate in July of 2023 to onboard 17 navigators. They are full-time staff members who really serve as the students' go-to person at any point along their academic journey. For our undergraduate students, we assign the navigators at point of signing up for orientation, and they really assist with onboarding the student and making sure that they're ready to hit the ground running their very first day on campus. Our undergraduate students are spread throughout all of our navigators. Some of our navigators do have specialized caseloads and responsibilities. We have certain navigators who focus on our dual enrollment students and provide customized interactions and engagement with them. A few of our navigators focus specifically on our undergraduate athletes. We have a navigator who focuses on our international students. So we've determined some of our subgroups that might need some additional customized interventions, and we have strategized to provide navigator support specifically for those subgroups. We have a very diverse group of staff members. Onboarding 17 individuals was quite a challenge, but a very exciting time at IUP. Our navigators have a range of professional experiences. Some of them are new professionals coming into higher education. Some are seasoned professionals who are looking for a change of pace and a change of challenge in their careers. They come from a wide array of educational backgrounds. We have navigators who have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctoral degrees, anywhere from a BA in poli-sci to a PhD in geoscience. So we're really fortunate to allow them to collaborate with one another. They are intentionally located in our university library, which allows easy access to students, and they're able to provide support in person, online, through email, Zoom, and text messaging. Since launching our student success infrastructure in 2023, we've seen a 7 percentage point increase in our retention rates, and our fall 2024 cohort has a retention rate of 78.2%.
And within that first year cohort, we are seeing a closing in some of our retention gaps. And we also wanted to share with the group today, this year, we've also seen an increase in our persistence to year 3. So our cohort persistence has in fact increased by 5 percentage points to 66% this year. And that concludes our comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to emphasize that every single student at IUP has a navigator for their entire career at IUP. Undergrad, grad, part-time, full-time, military-related, returning students, every single student has that support throughout their time, not just in the onboarding. If there are questions, certainly we can take them, but I'm also appreciative of the time. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Paula and Amber, for great work.
Yes, thank you, President Driscoll and Ms. Stossel and Dean Ricchini for your report. And finally, I will turn it over to President Riley. I understand your person is in the room, so we'll hear a report from Slippery Rock. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And presenting for Slippery Rock will be our Vice President for Enrollment Management, Mike May. We do like to say that retention and persistence is everyone's responsibility, faculty and staff alike. And so I think you'll hear that from Mike.
We also remind ourselves on a daily basis that the most expensive degree is one that is not finished. So this is a huge commitment for us, and we are fortunate to have Mike as well as his staff and our faculty who are working in tandem to make these results happen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Riley. Slippery Rock University has experienced tremendous gains in student retention due to deliberate, focused, and collaborative efforts campus-wide, including students, staff, and faculty. As Dr. Riley mentioned in her remarks, SRU's current first to second year retention rate is 86.4%, and we have set school records each of the last 2 years. Slippery Rock's overarching philosophy related to academic progress is to focus on the intersection of achievement support and retention research and assessment. We then leverage that data to implement new and creative strategies, which are assessed and continuously improved. Ultimately, our mission is to instill in our students the importance of goals, relationships, a growth mindset, learning-centered values, and a bias to act upon those values. I wanted to share some specific examples and resources and strategies that we're using. First off, our success coaches. Those success coaches provide our students with an accountability partner and a sounding board. Specifically, some of the things that the coaches do are connect students to campus resources that lead to thriving in college. They empower students with tools and strategies to maximize academic success. They teach our students about deeper learning and motivation. They help students become aware of their needs as a learner. And finally, they identify specific actions and strategies to accomplish those goals. I also want to add that we implemented the Learning and Study Strategies Inventory, known as the LASSI, which is designed to help students become strategic learners. Our College Reading and Learning Association, known as CRLA, certified peer academic coaches meet with students to complete learning strategy inventories. We improved access to tutorial support, ensuring that all of our tutors are CRLA certified through a rigorous training process. We also implemented an early college work-based learning program, which allows students to connect what they're learning early in their classroom experience with future career opportunities and expectations. Something that we're particularly proud of is we instituted a co-curricular programming, which is leading to strategic academic exploration for our undecided students, which, as we all know, are very at-risk students on our campuses. And this empowered many of them to declare a major in their first semester. And then last but not least, I wanted to mention that we've learn to harness something we call harnessing the power of home. And by that, we mean we engage our parents through coaching emails, and that empowers them to ask the right questions and best support their students' growth and success. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Vice President May, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Sorry, I should have thanked him. Sorry. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Absolutely. And you hear me talk a lot about outcomes, and this is a perfect example. We've been talking about retention for a long time as being very important, and we're really seeing outstanding results. And you've heard some examples of things that have been implemented on our campuses, and we chose 3 to be representative of the work that's being done, and we're seeing results across many of our campuses. So thank you all for filling us in on some of the work that you're doing. We appreciate it. I want to move on and talk a little bit about the system priorities that we're focused on right now, and just sort of briefly summarize some of the progress that we've been making. This slide is really just to set the stage. We're focused on a number of things that we feel that we need to improve with urgency, but this slide reflects on really our mission and the long-term priorities of the work that we do. And we've already been talking about some of those things today. The expansion of student opportunity, improving learner outcomes, and as we think beyond retention and focus on what we call persistence, where students who've gotten to the second year, we need to remain focused so that they continue on to the third and fourth year and ultimately receive a degree. That's the ultimate goal that we're shooting for here. Obviously, we've talked a lot about stabilizing finances. We have ongoing challenges resulting from external circumstances that we need to continue to address. We need to invest in our people. We need to make sure that our staff and faculty are prepared to do the work that we need to do in a changing environment. And we need to invest in infrastructure. We've had several comments about that already. We need to make sure that we are putting the infrastructure that is needed for faculty and staff to be successful in their hands so that they can achieve it. So overall, we are a mission-based organization, and this is the long-run focus of what we're doing. So then moving on to talk a little bit about some of the items that I introduced at the July meeting and give an update. We've been spending time, several comments have been made about the conversations I've been having, and I have been talking to faculty, staff, students, board members, trustees, university leaders, and anybody who will engage with me to learn as much as I can. It's been an incredible experience over the past few months. This visit this week is my 7th campus visit in the last 3 weeks or so. I'm in Slippery Rock, right? That's, I have to keep track of where I am at any point in time. But it's been great fun to get around to the campuses to meet with the students and see the kinds of things they're doing in their classes. It really does remind us why we're here, and it's been very enjoyable. It's been great talking to the faculty, both in terms of the union leadership and also talking to department chairs and program directors at various campuses and hearing the passion. The main focus of the faculty that I have talked to is what we need to do to improve the student experience. We have a lot of challenges, and we need to continue to focus on achieving as many improvements in the student's experience as we can. So the 3 areas of focus that we've been talking about, the optimize academics, optimize finances, and optimize engagement. I'm not going to go into great depth as I did yesterday, but going through and summarizing some of the key points that we're looking at here. The course and program sharing that we're working on really demonstrates the value of being part of a system. We feel we can leverage the multiple universities within the system to provide opportunities for students, make sure that as we deal with some of the demographic changes, that we're still in a position to provide opportunities for our students to participate in an array of academic programs. Working together, our universities can provide affordable, high-quality education by leveraging the strength of all 10 universities, offering more programs than we could offer if we just work separately. Sharing is a major component of the future. If you look around the country, other states are starting to realize that, and we have a good jump on getting this work underway. As of right now, nearly 100 students are participating in course sharing this semester. We're piloting the effort. The software system that we need to actually be able to implement this on a large scale, we expect to be operational by next fall. So for this year, it's being done on an ad hoc basis. So it's labor intensive, but we're finding that it works. We have programs, language programs, and I know there's physics and social work and a number of things that are going on at various campuses that are showing that if we work together, we can maintain opportunities. I was talking to Dr. Driscoll about some of the communication between Slippery Rock and IUP around programs like languages where there just aren't enough students enrolled at Slippery Rock, and therefore we can preserve the opportunity for students to attend language courses by partnering with IUP, a great example of the potential that we see in this arena. We can deliver courses online. We can use a multi-campus delivery by one professor using some kind of a synchronous multimodal model. Again, we need to be very focused on the technology to support it, to make sure that we're delivering high quality results. I heard you, Dr. Mash. That's a very important factor, and we're certainly aware of it. Again, the One SIS effort that I referenced a moment ago is what is going to enable the cross registration, and we expect to have it fully operational by next fall, so that the students can get on to the scheduling system and they can see course opportunities that are available to them, not only at their home campus, but elsewhere. The effort of reconnecting with former students, we see this as a great potential market for us. We are aware that we have around 130,000 people who have taken credits, earned credits at our institutions, never completed degrees. Many of them are at a position in their lives where they might very well have an interest in going back and completing a degree or getting an additional credential. And we see this as a huge opportunity for us to grow our enrollments, to increase the number of people who we are graduating, to provide an educated workforce for the Commonwealth. We need the workers in the Commonwealth, and it'll strengthen all of our universities if we can increase in enrollments. So all the universities are committed to connecting with adult learners. The market is out there. It's not a shrinking market. It's actually a growing market. And if we're going to be successful in it, we have to do things differently. We can't recruit students from this non-traditional population the way that we recruit 18-year-olds. And we're quite aware of that. And we're all working hard to understand how we need to recruit the students, what we need to do to support them. We just heard great examples of how we're supporting students on our campus. And I'm confident that we're going to be able to understand the support that this new population needs and be able to provide that support. And as we move forward in the months ahead, we'll be sharing more information about the effort that we're making to bring the students back. And it is a longer run strategy. We have to get out and get to work and start to bring them back. So we expect to see results starting to ramp up over the next year and a half or so. So thank you very much for that. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Terrific. A lot in there, a lot of meat. And of course, yesterday, the board in our workshop got a lot more of the details. And we know that there are KPIs by which to measure the progress of all of this. And of course, the main goal is to move toward an ongoing, stable, financially successful enterprise that continues to reach its mission about providing high quality 4-year education at the lowest affordable cost, and that is aligned with workforce and economic development needs of the Commonwealth. So thank you very much, Chancellor. We appreciate it. We are now going to move into committee sessions. So let me remind our board members that while only members of each committee can actually vote during the respective committee meetings, we do encourage all board members to ask questions during this time. And then the items approved by the committees will then come to the full board later this morning for ratification. So ask your questions now, and then we can move more expeditiously later. So with that, let me turn to our Vice Chair, Sam Smith, who is also the Chair of the Governance and Leadership Committee, to moderate that meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To begin with, I'd ask Toya to read the take the roll call for the Governance and Leadership Committee.
Yes, Chair Governor Sam Smith.
Here.
Governor David Mazer. Governor Abigail Hancox.
Present.
Cynthia Shapira.
Here.
Governor Robert Trainum. And President Karen Riley, our non-voting president liaison.
Here.
This completes the roll.
Thank you, Toya. This morning, we will consider the appointment of a student trustee for Commonwealth University. And as you can witness, just because of our, relative same as our student representatives on the Board of Governors, these These are an important voice on our council of trustees, and obviously an important, part of our overall function here. Because there are students on our councils, we can ensure our leaders, our university leaders, always have access to students' perspective when making decisions. And some of that's maybe in the actual meeting, but a lot of that is also just on more of a firsthand basis, in an informal way, where you get to know the students, and it gives all of us a reminder of what we're really here for. With that, let me direct your attention to the application materials for Nathan Brinker from Commonwealth University. They're included in your packet, and while these appointments are rarely controversial in any sense of the word, I think it's good for all of us to take a quick review of the students' qualifications, background, and why they're doing this, why they want to do this. Again, because it just provides those of us that are not students, haven't been directly in a college setting for years, perhaps, it gives you a little better feel of just what these young people are about, and it's always quite impressive. With that, I will ask President Osgood to say a few words about our appointment today.
Thank you. It is our honor to present to you a nomination for student trustee from the Lock Haven campus from Commonwealth. Nate Brinker is a health and physical education major and is currently in class. That's why he can't be with us today. And he's deeply engaged in campus life, serving on the student auxiliary board. He's leading the Full Gospel Fellowship Club and also working in our student union. Nate embodies the qualities that we actually hope for in a student trustee, integrity, thoughtfulness, and a willingness to make difficult decisions that support the university's long-term health and student experience. And the one thing that occurred during our meeting that made me think he was perfect to be a trustee is I had a series of questions for him, but he turned it around and had a series of questions for me about what I was going to do for the university. So I thought this gentleman is perfect to be our student trustee. With that, I ask your support for his nomination.
Thank you, President Osgood. And now I would ask Ms. Hancox, would you move that the committee recommends the board appoints Nathan Brinker to the Commonwealth University Council of Trustees?
It'd be my pleasure. So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second?
Thank you. Is there any discussion or other comment from committee members or other board members? Hearing none, I would ask the members of the committee to please say aye in support of this motion.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is adopted, and we will refer Nathan's name to the full board. As is mentioned by President Osgood, Nathan has class this morning, so he cannot be here, which is just as well probably, because when I looked at his resume and saw he came from Salzburg, which is just a few miles down the road from Indiana, I was wanted to ask him, like, well, the hell didn't you go to IUP for? Maybe I wouldn't have liked the answer, but I still was thinking about it. So congratulations to Nathan, and I will, that concludes the business of the Governance and Leadership Committee, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair. Let me now turn to Dr. Quentin Bullock, Chair of the University Success Committee, to moderate that meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask Toya if she would do a roll call for the University Success Committee.
Yes, Chair Quentin Bullock.
Here.
Vice Chair Governor Neil Weaver.
Here.
Governor Rich Caruso.
Here.
Governor Brandon Dance. Governor William Gindelsberger.
Present.
Secretary Akbar Hossein or designee.
Present.
Representative Brad Roy.
Here.
Governor Ali Sina Sharifi.
Here.
Cynthia Shapira.
Here.
And President Charles Patterson, our non-voting liaison.
Present.
Thank you.
Completes the roll. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 3 items for consideration today. These include the approval of the system's 2025-26 budget, approval of the 2025-26 capital spending plan, and approval of the state system's 2026-27 E&G state appropriation request. The first item on our committee agenda is the approval of the fiscal year 2025-26 annual operating budget. The board reviewed the preliminary budgets in July. The universities have now submitted updated budgets inclusive of fall enrollment. I would like to turn over to Ginger to walk us through the budget item.
Thank you and good morning. The board approves the university budgets in accordance with Board of Governors Policy 1993-03A, Budgetary Reporting and Review. The fiscal year 25-26 budget reflects the work the universities have undertaken to pursue their financial sustainability goals. These budgets have been updated from the preliminary versions you saw in July to reflect several key items, including the assumption for state funding has been revised to level funding from the prior year until the Commonwealth's budget is enacted. Universities will make necessary adjustments once final appropriations are known. Excuse me. A 3.6% increase in tuition rates and adjustments to enrollments based on the university's fall census data, adjustments to university set fees where appropriate, and any corresponding adjustments by universities on their overall revenue and expenditure levels consistent with direction of the financial sustainability requirements across the system. As mentioned earlier, with a slight increase in enrollment overall for this fiscal year and an historic 81% first year to second year retention rate, we are continuing to bend the curve on enrollment. Overall, the E&G budget is seeing a slight increase in recurring revenues from the prior year, while one-time funds, such as those associated with COVID, continue to decrease as those associated activities wind down. On the expenditure side, the compensation category reflects workforce planning steps as part of sustainability efforts that partially mitigate the impact of increases in salaries and benefits. Expenditures in financial aid to address affordability for our students stand at $162 million for this fiscal year. This investment in student aid continues to be a priority in our university's budgets. Inflation and some one-time expenditures explain the increase in services and supplies, while decreases in debt principal payments and interest expense are associated with the normal amortization of bond debt and master lease payments. Overall, the state system's 25-26 unrestricted budget is projected to have a $2.2 million deficit, which is approximately 0.1% of the total unrestricted budget. Again, if the Commonwealth's enacted budget requires any updates to the assumptions used to develop the fiscal year budgets, universities will make the appropriate adjustments. Committee Chair, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Ginger. Based on the information that was just shared and as outlined in the board materials, I move that the committee recommends the Board of Governors approves the fiscal year 2025-26 annual operating budget for state system universities and Office of the Chancellor reflected in attachment 1. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Committee members, all in favor, indicate by aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Our next item is the approval of fiscal year 2025-26 capital spending plan. Annually, the board reviews the 5-year capital spending plan, but approves only the current year of the plan. The attached plan reflects continuity with last year's 5-year planning period. Although the actual amount of capital funding for this fiscal year has not yet been approved, the plan before you assumes a $70 million allocation of Commonwealth capital appropriations from the governor, which is consistent with previous year funding levels. I would like to turn it back to Sharon to review this item with us.
Thank you. As discussed, this is for fiscal year 25-26 as the capital spending plan. The plan,
There you go.
don't know what that was. Phone didn't have anything on it. It was talking to me. The plan before you provides continued funding for active previously approved projects at Cheney, Commonwealth, IUP, Kutztown, and Millersville, and also adds 2 life cycle renovations for Cheney University, as well as Slippery Rock. It also includes infrastructure projects at East Stroudsburg to address a central heating system, and Slippery Rock and Westchester to address electrical systems. Finally, it adds demolition at the Bloomsburg campus of Commonwealth and IUP. Both of those projects align with their space optimization projects. In addition to these projects before you, we are recommending that 2 projects previously approved for Commonwealth University and Penn West be replaced with deferred maintenance and demolition initiatives, as noted in your materials. Both of these initiatives are more pressing at each of the universities while they work on their current master plans. The plan before you was reviewed by the presidents prior to presentation to the board. With that, Chair, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Sharon. Based on the information that was just shared with us and as outlined in the board materials, I move that the committee recommend that the Board of Governors approve the fiscal year 2025-26 capital spending plan and revisions as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Committee members, all in favor indicate by aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. The final item is approval of fiscal year 2026-27 educational and general state appropriation requests. I would like to turn it over to our chancellor to walk us through the appropriation request discussion.
Thank you, President Bullock. Well, we don't know the outcome of this cycle yet, and we find ourselves in a position where we have to, by statute, the board has to make the request for next year. So you've just heard some of the budget analysis that was presented by Ginger. We took a look at where we are as a system of universities. Obviously, different schools are in different circumstances right now. And considered a number of factors, looking at inflation, for example. And we considered our recent history of maintaining level tuition, which we did for 7 years prior to this most recent year, where we have a contingent increase in the tuition based on the uncertainty about the outcome of the appropriation. And after considering all the factors and the results that we have achieved over time, working on holding our tuition level, my recommendation for this year is we continue to add a request to submit a request, sorry, to the governor and the legislature for a 5% increase in the state appropriation, which we have determined would be an amount that would enable us to hold tuition level for the following year. So that is my recommendation to the board.
Thank you. Based on the information that was just shared with us as outlined in the board material, I would move that the committee recommends the Board of Governors approve fiscal year 2026-27 E&G appropriation request as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to say a few words. Basically, I want to speak in support of the Chancellor's recommendation. This is really significant for several reasons. First of all, what this appropriations request does is maintain our consistent and firm commitment to be holding tuition flat, to not raise tuition. That is what we have been able to do, again, contingent upon what happens this year, but it is certainly our intention. It speaks to our mission. It speaks to our branding, truly as a system that is able to offer such high quality four-year education at a cost that is so far below the published tuition rates of really, I think, any other school, four-year institution in the Commonwealth. And that the mission to me is what really drives this request. And, you know, we understand that it is a request and it goes the way that politics goes, and we advocate very strongly for the request. Dr. Mash, if we're able to get special requests to fund some of the things that we absolutely, I agree, need to be investing in, you know, that's part of it as well. But I just want to really commend the chancellor and the presidents and Sharon and Ginger and the entire chancellor staff that worked on this, you know, to come to this place. And I also want to point out that it also speaks to our efforts that are starting to, you know, manifest themselves in terms of increased enrollment, which means increased revenue, and continuing to cut costs in very significant ways, while not affecting the delivery of program. And that's why this is a 5% request, right? As opposed to a 6.5% request that we did for this year, which is now sort of the previous year in terms of how we're thinking about it. But that's a percentage and a half less. And that also says, I think, to the governor and the General Assembly and to our public that we are continuing to hold our end of the bargain and continually working to reduce the amount that we would request in order to maintain this mission and this branding of flat tuition. So this is really just a rah-rah that I'm doing right now, but I'm really proud of the work that's been done, and I'm really proud of this board's adherence, you know, to our mission.
Any further discussion? Committee members, all in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Madam Chair, that concludes the work of the University Success Committee.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. And to your committee as well. We will now take up the committee recommendations related to the student trustee appointment, the budget, the capital plan, and the appropriations request. So before we proceed to vote on these committee recommendations in one motion, let me ask if anyone on the board prefers that we separate and vote on any item discreetly. Okay. Hearing no such request, may I have a motion to approve today's committee actions?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? No?
Oh, there's Representative Briggs online.
Okay, Representative Briggs, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your comments on the tuition recommendation. Or the appropriation. I'm absolutely a yes. I'll support the request, but I will be advocating for more in my position as a representative. I think holding the line in tuition is our goal, but we should also be striving to satisfy all the additional conversations that we talked about today about the investments that we could be making in our students and our facilities. So I get it. You know, we haven't even passed this current year budget, so I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but I do think we should be striving for more. But as a Board of Governor, I support the request to the governor on the 5%. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Briggs. I very much appreciate where you're coming from. You know, we walk a fine line here, but we absolutely do need additional investment. I agree with you. Sina?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to tell a story, of course, related to what we are talking about, and the stories that I had the privilege and honor of accompanying Chancellor Fiorentino at Shippensburg University as a student member of the board. And I was also in the position of hosting, if I may, Dr. Patterson. But it was a great visit, and we saw the growth process of each student on campus at Shippensburg. And I'm sure the other 7 universities and the ongoing visits to all campuses are exactly the same and even farther. That is also an emphasis on the system's commitment to transparency, of course, on each individual campuses with the faculty members, with the presidents, with the students. But also that reminds us of why we are here and why we are doing it. And we have 83,000 students, and the enrollment is growing. That is a positive indicator. And that's why the keeping the tuition flat will drive students towards the system to our campuses, and that really matters because as we know that the system is the #1 recruiter of students in the Commonwealth, and that means a lot. And I hope the request will be approved for the next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions before we proceed to a vote? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay. The motion's all passed. Thank you. Next, we will consider ratification of the collective bargaining agreement with our police union. Is there a motion that the board ratifies the collective bargaining agreement with the Apache Officers Association and authorizes the chancellor and the chair of the board to execute the appropriate documents?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. The motion carries. All right, so let me say for the record that the board met in executive session on October 15th from 1:30 until 2 p.m. to discuss personnel and contractual matters. Board members, are there any other matters before us that you wish to discuss, or not before us that you wish to discuss? Okay, well, hearing none, the meeting is adjourned, and thank you again